Hey guys, welcome back for chapter 2 of the book of Titus. Today, Paul is really going over two topics in this book, which is the qualities of a great church and then being trained by saving grace. It's a shorter chapter, but still full of wisdom that Paul was trying to convey to the young pastor Titus. It's good stuff as always. Let's go ahead and get into it. This is the Bible Vlog. Opening right up in the chapter, Paul warns Titus that no matter what, he needs to continue speaking sound doctrine. See, during this time, as Paul was going around setting up churches, one of the biggest challenges that he faced was false doctrine or false teaching. Simply put, you had false teachers trying to come into these churches after Paul would set them up, and then they would try to start teaching things that were completely contrary to the Bible. Now, for anybody, this is a hard issue to deal with, but especially if you're in charge at the church and if you're young. Now, honestly, even as the church back then was being built, you can see the work of Satan trying to come in and stir things up like this. He hates the church and he tries to bring in false teaching to cause confusion and division. And here's the thing, as nice as we want to be to people and as loving as we need to be, there are also times where you have to simply address something that is wrong. False teaching is nothing to mess around with, and Paul is warning Titus that he needs to continue to teach the Bible and only the Bible no matter what. So these were some of the issues that Titus was now having to deal with. Okay, let's go ahead and look at verse 1 and then 7 through 8. But as for you, speak the things which are proper for sound doctrine. Now skip down to verse 7 and 8. In all things, showing yourself to be a pattern of good works, in doctrine, showing integrity, reverence, incorruptibility, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that no one who is an opponent may be ashamed, having nothing evil to say of you. Church leadership demands good conduct. You can't be taken seriously if your life doesn't reflect what you're teaching. Listen, there are a lot of people that when they get into a church, they want to be in a position of power or where they're able to speak and pray for other people. And while those things are fine to want and do and pursue, you have to examine a person's actions and motives. I can tell you this, if you aren't willing to reach out to others in the place you are right now, then there is no need for God to elevate you to a position where you are simply more visible. God always looks for faithfulness and someone that simply wants to be used. All right, finally, let's look at the closing remarks here in verses 11 through 15. For the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in the present age, looking for the blessed hope and glorious appearing of our great God and Savior, Jesus Christ, who gave himself for us that he might redeem us from every lawless deed and purify for himself his own special people, zealous for good works. Speaking these things, exhort and rebuke with all authority. Let no one despise you. Be zealous for good works and let no one despise you. You know, it's funny because a lot of people don't want to let anyone despise us. I mean, if someone is against us, well, we'll stand up and fight because we aren't supposed to let anyone despise us. But that's not what Paul is saying. He's saying no one should be able to despise you because your works are so good, they have nothing to condemn you with. Guys, when you love people and you show it through your actions, then people see Jesus. That is the ultimate call of the Christian. Not just to acknowledge God with your lips, but also by your lifestyle. All right, guys, well, that is it for us today with chapter 2 of Titus, and tomorrow we actually wrap it up with the final chapter of the book. Well, thank you again for being here. I'm so grateful for all of you who've been following along on this journey through the New Testament. I'll tell you this much, you learn a whole lot more about the Bible simply by teaching it. We'll come back tomorrow for chapter 3. Can't wait to see you then. Hope you guys have an amazing day. I will see you back here tomorrow.